Before the pyramids, before writing, before even the idea of nations or kings. There was a time when humans were just another species struggling to survive. No borders, no buildings, no history books, just scattered groups of men and women walking the earth, on foot, under the open sky, with nothing but fire, stone tools, and the instinct to endure. But who were these early humans? How did they live? What did they think about as they stared into the flickering light of a fire in a dark, predator-filled world? To find the answers, we must travel back, not just thousands but hundreds of thousands of years. The story of the first humans doesn't begin with Homo sapiens. It begins millions of years earlier, in the heart of Africa, with small, upright walking apes who took their first tentative steps on two legs. These were our distant ancestors, creatures like Australopithecus who lived over 3 million years ago. Standing barely over a meter tall with a mix of ape-like and human features, they roamed the savannas, scavenging food, climbing trees, and slowly adapting to a new way of life. Over hundreds of thousands of years, their descendants evolved larger brains, more complex tools, and greater cooperation. Homo habilis, then Homo erectus, our first real travelers, left Africa and spread into Asia and Europe. They hunted, gathered, used fire, and lived in small, tight-knit bands. Life was short and brutal, but slowly innovation began to shape their survival. Then, around 300,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. A new species emerged. Homo sapiens. Us. We were smarter, more adaptable. We crafted blades, clothing, and art. We buried our dead, painted caves, and created language. But for tens of thousands of years we still lived the old way, wandering, hunting, surviving. Civilization was still far on the horizon. Yet even then, the spark of what would become humanity, curiosity, creativity, cooperation, had already begun to glow. For over 95% of our species' existence, we lived as hunter-gatherers. No farms, no permanent homes, no towns or temples. Instead, life revolved around the rhythms of nature, seasons, migrations, survival. Small bands of 20 to 50 people moved constantly, following animal herds and seasonal plants. Every member had a role. Tools were made from stone, wood, and bone. Fire was sacred, used to cook, warm, and protect. At night, stories were shared under starlit skies long before written language was born. And contrary to popular belief, these early societies weren't always brutal or chaotic. Many anthropologists believe they were surprisingly egalitarian, sharing food, raising children communally, and living in balance with nature. But it was a hard life. Injuries were fatal. Diseases went untreated. A failed hunt could mean starvation. Wild animals, rival bands, and the merciless elements were constant threats. Still, humans thrived. They spread across continents, from Africa to the Middle East to Asia, Australia, and eventually Europe and the Americas. Each group adapted to new climates, developed unique cultures, and refined the tools of survival. The world was their home, and in every corner they left subtle traces, charcoal fires, buried bones, stone spears, and whispers of a world long gone. Even before cities and temples, humans were already creators. Art is not a product of civilization, it predates it. Over 40,000 years ago, in dark hidden caves across Europe and Asia, early humans painted animals, handprints, and symbolic shapes. Why? Maybe to tell stories, maybe for ritual, maybe to connect with something bigger than themselves. This was the birth of culture, the moment humans began to leave behind more than just bones and tools. Fire had long been mastered, but now it warmed more than just bodies. It became the hearth of imagination. Through music, dance, and spoken language, early humans passed down knowledge. They remembered the stars. They honored the dead. They speculated about the unseen. Spirituality, in its earliest form, was born not in temples, but under trees, in caves, and around campfires. They buried their loved ones with tools, beads, and flowers, signs of belief in an afterlife. They carved figures like the Venus figurines, honoring fertility or womanhood. They gazed at the night sky and saw patterns, stories, ancestors. This wasn't yet civilization, but it was the beginning of meaning, of human identity. Even without writing, early humans were already telling the story of who they were and what they believed. And those whispers echo through time, etched in stone, painted on cave walls, buried in the soil of forgotten campsites. Before agriculture, before cities, before history was written down, we were already storytellers, artists, thinkers. Life before civilization was not just survival, it was the shaping of identity, the forging of bonds, the testing ground of human resilience and imagination. In those ancient forests and frozen plains, humans laid the foundation for everything that would follow. They discovered how to cooperate, how to plan, how to adapt. They explored the mysteries of death, the wonder of stars, and the power of fire. And most importantly, they imagined. Civilization did not create humanity. Humanity created civilization. So next time you hear the word primitive, remember, our ancestors may have lacked metal and concrete, but they had vision, courage, and a deep connection to the natural world. Their footsteps echo across continents, their breath lingers in the firelight, and their spirit lives on, in us. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There's so much more to explore together. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next adventure.